There's this phone that lasted over 3 days on a single charge. Not in some lab under perfect conditions, actual use. I'm talking about 25 hours and 35 minutes of mixed usage. That's the kind of number that makes you question why we've been accepting phones that die by evening. I spent the last few days in the trenches, determined to find the best phones with the best battery life. What I found is that 2026 finally delivered what we've needed for years, but only if you know which phones to buy. I've put the links in the description below with the best deals on all these phones because some of them are harder to find than others. The breakthrough this year is silicon carbon battery technology. While most phones still use traditional lithium ion, 4 of these 5 switched to silicon carbon, which provides 10 to 25% higher energy density, faster charging speeds, and better low temperature performance compared to traditional lithium ion batteries. The results? Well, let's look at the Realme P4 Power, which is a real beast when it comes to battery life. It comes with a 10,001 milliamp hour silicon carbon battery. I guess someone at Realme hates round numbers. That's the largest capacity in any mainstream smartphone, and somehow they managed to keep it at 9.1 millimeters thick, heavy at 219 grams, but not the brick you'd expect. GSM Arena's mixed-use test hit 25 hours and 35 minutes. To put that in perspective, their call time test logged 61 hours and 8 minutes. Web browsing went for 24 hours and 46 minutes straight. Video playback pushed 34 hours and 33 minutes. Even gaming, which kills batteries faster than anything, lasted 13 hours and 19 minutes.
Tom's Guide took a different approach and found it lasted over 3 days with normal use, then sat on standby for 13 more days. That's not a phone, that's a small power station. You get the MediaTek Dimensity 7400 Ultra processor, which handles everything you throw at it without drama. The 6.8-inch AMOLED display runs 144 Hz and hits 6500 nits peak brightness, so outdoor visibility isn't an issue. Storage options go from 128 GB to 256 GB with up to 12 GB of RAM. Here's the catch: it's only sold in India. No official US or European availability, so you're looking at imports, higher prices, and zero warranty support if something goes wrong. The OnePlus 15 takes a different approach. It comes with a 7,300 milliamp hour silicon carbon battery, which delivers insane performance while running the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, the fastest processor you can buy right now. You're getting true flagship performance without sacrificing endurance. GSM Arena logged 23 hours and 7 minutes of mixed use, with 39 hours of call time, 32 hours and 57 minutes of video playback, and 21 hours of web browsing. Phone Arena ranked it second overall on their battery leaderboard with 10 hours and 44 minutes in their mixed-use test. The 6.78-inch LTPO display runs 165 Hz and supports Dolby Vision. Storage starts at 256 GB and goes up to 1 TB. All UFS 4.1 for fast file access. The camera system uses 3 50-megapixel sensors, including a 3.5 times optical zoom telephoto. What impressed me is the 120-watt fast charging, 0 to 50% in 15 minutes. Add 50-watt wireless charging and you have flexibility when you do need to top up. The one downside that I find annoying is that some regions don't include the charger in the box. What's up with that? For a phone positioning itself as the complete package, that feels unnecessarily cheap. The Oppo Find X9 Pro is third on this list. It comes with a 7,500 mAh silicon carbon battery instead of the traditional lithium ion. That battery capacity is roughly 50% more than the 5,088 mAh cell in the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the 5,000 mAh battery found in the Galaxy S26 Ultra. In GSM Arena's test, it lasted 21 hours and 57 minutes of mixed use. Call time hit 28 hours and 34 minutes, web browsing lasted 22 hours and 20 minutes, and video playback lasted 28 hours and 39 minutes. Gaming drained the battery in 13 hours and 38 minutes. The standout feature is that 200 megapixel telephoto camera with 3 times optical zoom. Paired with a 50 megapixel main sensor and 50 megapixel ultra wide, this thing handles photography seriously. The front camera is also 50 megapixels, which is over
overkill for selfies but delivers when you need it. The MediaTek Dimensity 9500 processor keeps up with flagship demands, and you can configure it with up to 16 GB of RAM and 1 TB of storage. The display hits 3600 nits peak brightness, making it usable in direct sunlight. Oppo promises 5 major Android updates, which is longer support than most manufacturers offer. But the pricing is aggressive, $1,297 to start, and it's not officially sold in the US yet. So there might be some headaches with finding and getting your hands on this phone. Now, for something completely different, the Motorola Moto G Play 2026 shouldn't compete with flagship phones, but the tests tell a different story.
Before I talk about it, if you're finding this breakdown useful so far, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe for more honest reviews without the marketing nonsense. So this phone costs $179.99 and comes with a traditional 5200 mAh lithium-ion battery, not silicon carbon. It managed 9 hours and 27 minutes in Phone Arena's test for mixed use. However, for web browsing, video playback, and gaming, the Moto G Play lasted for 24 hours and 57 minutes, 12 hours and 57 minutes, and 10 hours and 16 minutes respectively. The GSM Arena's tests are slightly better in some areas. We're talking 17 hours and 23 minutes in mixed use, 34 hours and 57 minutes in calls, 16 hours and 54 minutes in web browsing, 23 hours and 49 minutes in video playback, and 9 hours and 19 minutes in gaming. The reason for this performance is the MediaTek Dimensity 6300 processor, which sips power through a straw, and that 720p display doesn't demand much energy. You get practical features that disappeared from expensive phones: a headphone jack, microSD card slot, and clean Android 16 without manufacturer bloatware, plus 5G connectivity at this price point. The trade-offs are real. 4 GB of RAM feels tight for multitasking in 2026, and that 720p resolution shows up very pixelated on the 6.7-inch screen. This is basic transportation, not a multimedia powerhouse. But I couldn't talk about battery life and not mention the Nubia RedMagic 11 Pro. This phone comes with a 7500 mAh silicon carbon battery that works with liquid cooling and a built-in fan to maintain performance under load. It's the first mass-produced phone with active cooling, and you can feel the difference during extended gaming sessions. GSM Arena logged 20 hours and 2 minutes of mixed use, but the gaming number is more interesting: 11 hours and 56 minutes of continuous gaming. That's nearly a full workday of intensive gaming from a single charge. On the other hand, Phone Arena's tests gave the device a battery life estimate of 10 hours and 43 minutes in mixed use, 25 hours and 55 minutes in web browsing, 15 hours and 5 minutes in video playback, and 14 hours and 14 minutes in gaming. The Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 runs without thermal throttling thanks to this cooling system. The 6.85-inch display pushes 144 Hz with pressure-sensitive zones that act like controller triggers. What surprised me is the 80-watt wireless charging. Most gaming phones skip wireless charging entirely, but RedMagic included it alongside 80-watt wired charging. The obvious downside, for some people, is that this phone screams gamer. The design, the RGB lighting, the aggressive styling, it's not subtle. The cameras are adequate but nothing special, and that cooling fan gets audible during intense sessions. The truth is, silicon carbon finally gave us the battery life we've been waiting for. But this is just the beginning, because if you think these phones are impressive, there are a few out there that take things to a completely different level. I'm talking raw power that actually puts phones like the iPhone and even the S26 Ultra to shame. So if you want to see what real performance looks like in 2026, check out this next video.